Potato.
Hello, I'm Samantha Jolly. You're watching Seven's Afternoon News live from Perth. Coming up, what sparked the shock end to the Claremont serial killings trial, plus a bombshell decision for the accused killer, Bradley Robert Edwards. From north to south, last night's twice-a-year storm leaves a trail of destruction across Perth. A heartwarming rescue after a raging inferno destroys a family home. WA hits a coronavirus milestone, 1 week without a new case. But what does it mean for restrictions? Retailers rejoice, more stores open their doors after weeks of closures. And royal call, the Queen picks up the phone to our PM. WA's trial of the century has come to an abrupt end. Today, the prosecution finished its case against the accused Claremont serial killer, Bradley Robert Edwards. The Supreme Court hearings have now been adjourned until June. Alison Fan reports.
Crowds packed the courtroom today to hear the accused killer, Bradley Robert Edwards, deny all knowledge of the murders of Sarah Spears, Jane Rimmer and Kira Glennon. His denial of all charges was seen and heard in a 6-hour-long police video interview recorded on the day he was arrested back in December 2016. And it will be the only time anyone gets to hear him speak, because at the close of today's prosecution case, the former Telstra technician told Justice Stephen Hall he would not be giving evidence in his defence. This means both the prosecution and defence have ended their cases, except for closing submissions that will be held next month. Tonight, details of the bombshell moment police told Bradley Robert Edwards they had matched his DNA, and why the sudden end to the hearings in this trial of the century. Alison Fan, 7 News.
From north to south, Perth suburbs have been battered by last night's twice-a-year storm. At least one person was hurt in the wild weather. A driver suffered minor injuries. Fences were destroyed, roofs ripped from their rafters and massive trees uprooted. At its peak, 55,000 Western Power customers were left without power. The southwest recorded some record-breaking wind gusts.
In terms of its severity, this sort of system will really only happen once or twice in a season. So it is a pretty significant system that's gone through the Perth area and indeed the southwest overnight last night. Some of the gusts that we saw recorded down at Cape Lewin and Cape Naturalist there, certainly the one at Cape Naturalist was the highest that we've recorded at that particular station going back nearly 20 years.
This afternoon, thousands of homes are still in the dark. A severe weather warning remains in place. The wet and windy conditions are far from over. I'll have your weather details later in the bulletin. The wild weather has left behind a trail of destruction. Much of the damage is still being assessed, and this afternoon residents are picking up the pieces. Rob Scott has more.
Well, Hall's Head really copped a battering last night. A quick drive around this morning, we saw several power lines were down, fences had been toppled, but this seaside home really caught our eye. As you can see, the front patio roof has come down. It happened around 5:30 this morning due to some very strong winds coming off the ocean. And as the roof came crashing down, it went straight through the window of the lounge room here, sending glass and bits of metal spraying everywhere. The people who live here have told us they've been through this before. A couple of years ago, they lost another section of this roof, and last night they tried to shore it up. And as you can see, this orange rope, so thin, it really didn't do much to keep it in place. Next door, these are holiday units. They weren't spared damage either. That white structure that's leaning up against the railing here, that's not a roof. That is actually the side wall of the middle unit, and it has come crashing down as well. This is the sort of damage we've seen up and down the coast. We'll have a full wrap-up of it in 7 News tonight at 6 p.m.
A family and their pet dog have run for their lives after fire engulfed their Golden Bay home. It's the second time it's happened to them. Anna Hay reports.
Good afternoon. You can see how close this inferno came to neighbouring homes. If you have a look at this fence, it's been completely gutted by fire and it's missed the home by only metres. Firefighters were called to the family home on Yanry Street in Golden Bay just before midnight. When emergency crews arrived, the house was a raging inferno.
Yeah, so we started banging on the windows. I ended up having to smash a window and got their attention. We got them out.
It's understood a family of 9 was inside, including a baby only a few weeks old. They managed to make it out safely. Wild winds from last night's storms only fuelled the flames, sending flying embers into neighbouring properties.
Oh, it was huge. It was massive, and the wind was actually blowing embers like as far as the eye could see, and it was scary, it was hot, you could hear gas bottles going up.
The roof of a house on nearby Yaringa Street also caught alight. It took firefighters an hour to put out the blaze. The double-storey home is now a charred mess. This morning, neighbours rallied to find the family's missing dog. They found him terrified in bushland nearby, his paws bleeding. But Cloud is still missing. Incredibly, this is not the first time this has happened to this family. They also lost a home 7 years ago to a fire. The cause of the fire is unknown at this stage, but police aren't treating it as suspicious.
A motorcyclist is fighting for life in Royal Perth Hospital after colliding with a car in Midvale. The impact was so strong it sent the bike and the man flying into a front yard. Cassidy Mosconi reports.
Good afternoon. The crash happened here at this Midvale intersection yesterday afternoon. Police say a Nissan X-Trail was turning right onto Salisbury Road when a motorbike collided into the back of it. The impact was so strong he was propelled into the air. The bike continued on, clipping a rock and narrowly missing a parked car.
I was standing out here doing my garden, heard the crash. Next thing I know, I just seen this bike just come flying up in midair and the guy just flying up. As you see, all the bike parts are where his helmet went up the road there. I'm just dumbfounded.
The car was also crushed, but the driver came out better off, escaping with just minor scrapes and bruises.
Whew. Shocked. That's just shocked as it is.
The 25-year-old rider received life-threatening injuries and was rushed to Royal Perth Hospital's intensive care unit under priority. He's still there in a critical condition. Anyone who saw the crash should contact police.
A woman's body has been found in WA's north. Police in our Pilbara were called to Newman Hospital around 4 o'clock this morning, where the woman was found dead. There are reports her body was found in a wheelie bin. The death is being treated as suspicious. Anyone with information should contact Crime Stoppers on 1800 333 000. A woman accused of lying about having COVID-19, then coughing on a shop worker and a security guard in Perth's north, has denied the offence. Catherine Doyle faced court today after allegedly stealing from the Warwick shopping centre and coughing on the pair last month.
I'm not guilty of anything.
The 41-year-old Girraween woman will be back in court later this month. A roadmap for driving WA away from COVID-19 restrictions will be released as early as this weekend. But we're being warned it could be years before the economic damage the pandemic has caused is repaired. But there was some good news today. WA has now recorded a full week of no new cases. El Giorgio has more.
Good afternoon. The Vines is widely known as a luxury resort less than an hour away from Perth City, but now it's being taken over by FIFO workers from the eastern states who have relocated to Perth indefinitely so that they can continue working during COVID-19 shutdowns. It's to help the mining industry stay active and in turn help the economy as much as possible during the uncertainty of coronavirus. More than 90 Chevron workers are right now staying at the hotel, some with their families, to make FIFO life easier. But the government still doesn't know the full extent of the damage COVID-19 will cause to our economy in the long run. The Premier calling the economic shutdown a catastrophe and is calling for radical new tax cuts.
We estimate the unemployment rate in Western Australia is now between 10 and 11%. That is way too high, and clearly we need to take steps to bring that down. It's catastrophic for many people. It's catastrophic for many businesses. It's very sad.
Hopefully by Saturday, the government will release its plan for WA's road out of coronavirus, including an outline of restrictions that will be wound back first.
We need to come up with ways of getting the economy back on its feet in a COVID-safe and health-safe way.
But one of the big questions that all West Australians want to know the answers to is when our intrastate and interstate border lockdowns will be lifted. More on that in 7 News tonight at 6 o'clock.
The Mandurah school principal stood down over a coronavirus warning to parents has won her job back. Bronwyn White will return to Halls Head College tomorrow. The Education Department says a performance issue was identified and that Ms White has been reminded of the limits of her authority. The Treasurer is defending the rollout of wage subsidies flowing to millions of workers from today as part of the government's JobKeeper program. But Labor warns that the scheme has been mismanaged, with too many Australians missing out. Olivia Leeming reports from Canberra.
More than 725,000 businesses have signed up for the scheme on behalf of some 4.7 million workers, who will start to receive the payment from today. But the government had been expecting more than 1 million more Australians to apply, saving around $30 billion. Labor says it's evidence the JobKeeper scheme is too hard to access. It wants the savings used to subsidise more casual workers who currently miss out. But the Treasurer insists there'll be no changes.
Being badly implemented, badly communicated, and too many workers are left out and left behind.
The quicker we can get people back into their jobs, the stronger the economy will be.
And while there's still no vaccine for coronavirus, there could soon be a treatment to ease symptoms and save lives. Melbourne-based biotech giant CSL is seeking 800 donations of plasma from Australians who've recovered from the virus to help treat other patients who are seriously ill. And if successful, it could also be used to protect those exposed to the virus on the front line, welcomed by the Health Minister.
It could have a preventive role, and so I would love to see this rolled out to health workers if the science says that it's safe and potentially effective.
They're looking for up to 100 Australians to take part in a clinical trial of nearly 6,000 who've recovered.
Meanwhile, struggling businesses could continue to suffer even when restrictions are lifted. Researchers found many Australians won't be ready to return to normal. Less than half of us would be comfortable going to a bar or restaurant, and even fewer would get on a plane or attend a large event. About 40% of people surveyed believe it would be more than 12 months before things seemed normal again. The Special Commission of Inquiry into the Ruby Princess disaster is continuing after an emotion charge session in Sydney yesterday. A senior cruise line employee as well as paramedics who met the ship are now in the spotlight. Robert Ovadia reports.
What was clearly emerging at the inquiry today were a number of witnesses who were, to a certain extent, surprised the Ruby Princess was permitted to dock in Sydney without being boarded by New South Wales Health. That was the evidence from Carnival Australia's own port agent, Bibi Tokovic. She said she assumed there would be more scrutiny of the ship, having reported dozens of cases of passengers with potential COVID-19 symptoms, especially since Health had boarded before its departure on March 8.
My opinion was that New South Wales Public Health was going to board the vessel.
Ms Tokovic also said about 100 illnesses on board was not necessarily unusual although the evidence has shown they were significantly more cases on board. She testified about a conversation with the ship's senior clinician, Dr. Ilse von Watzdorf, who insisted 2 passengers needed urgent transportation to hospital as soon as the ship docked, not because of potential coronavirus symptoms they were displaying, but because of underlying conditions such as heart and nerve problems. Despite that, Leslie Bacon's COVID infection was so bad she would die within 48 hours of leaving the ship. A paramedic involved with the hospital transport thought the whole process was odd.
She was on nasal prongs. She was on nasal prongs, I believe.
Yesterday, the inquiry heard a tearful admission from New South Wales health epidemiologist Kellyanne Ressler when Commissioner Brett Walker SC suggested very harshly her team's role in this was reprehensible.
But I found that a bit out of line, Ray, and I think to see her reduced to that under that sort of aggressive line of what would appear questioning, you got to get the balance right on this one, and I would hope that Mr. Walker would reflect on that.
The inquiry is wrapping up for the afternoon and it should continue tomorrow.
The truck driver who mowed down 4 police officers in the Melbourne Freeway tragedy reportedly claims he swerved across lanes to avoid a witch. Mohinder Singh is believed to be receiving psychiatric treatment behind bars. The 47-year-old is charged with 4 counts of culpable driving causing death. As the economy moves closer to reopening, there's more positive news out of the retail sector. Network Finance editor Gemma Acton has more.
Myer is set to join Adairs, Apple and Kathmandu in trialling the reopening of stores as early as this week. But for retailers and their customers, it won't be business as we've always known it. Some common adjustments will be the in-store provision of hand sanitizer and sometimes face masks. Shop assistants will enforce safe distances between customers and staff, while Apple says it will also be checking temperatures. Retailers are hankering for a return to business after a brutal April which crippled revenues. But while the pain started to be felt for many in March, today's bumper retail sales headline figure disguised the turmoil. Retail sales growth for March hit a record high of 8.5%, boosted by swollen demand for essentials such as food, alcohol, pharmaceuticals and toiletries. Equipment enabling workers to set up from home, such as computers and desks, also saw sales spike, as reflected in the robust results from JB Hi-Fi today. But for some, the COVID nightmare had already begun, sales dropping by nearly a quarter for restaurants, cafes and takeaway shops. Clothing and footwear experienced a similar collapse in sales, while a boost to their online channels couldn't save department stores. Their sales were down by around 9% in March.
It's one of Australia's most popular fundraisers, but this year the Fight MND Big Freeze won't be held. But supermarket giant Coles is jumping on board to make sure people continue to support the cause.
All shoppers are being urged to add a beanie to their basket when grabbing groceries at Coles. From today, all stores across Australia will be stocking the Fight MND beanies, which we all know is about helping find a cure for motor neuron disease.
The beanie started with a really simple concept. We were allowed to order 5,000 and now 6 years into the campaign we're seeing them at Coles stores nationwide.
Due to COVID-19 restrictions, Neil Danaher's Big Freeze at the G has been postponed, but the fight still goes on, buying beanies more important now than ever. Coles will also be donating 10 cents from every pork product sold to Fight MND.
Common sense would say they'll be where it's cold, so we put them in the meat department. So you might not get the Big Freeze at the G, but you can get the Big Freeze while you buy your meat.
Buy a beanie, wear it loud and proud.
As you can see, the stores are now stocked and you can grab your beanie for $20.
You're watching 7's Afternoon News live from Perth. Coming up, Elon Musk's bizarre name for his new baby. Plus a phone call from Her Majesty, what the Queen had to say to our Prime Minister. And the story behind this terrifying but spectacular blaze.
This Perth's own Tiger King. How exotic animals could roam WA.
It's coming together quite quickly, actually.
See the former Perth Party Boys' wild plans. Only on 7 News.
The most unique Mother's Day we've ever experienced needs a fresh new way to celebrate. From a new type of rose for Mum, the meals that'll make her mouth water, to new mums with the cutest fur babies you'll ever meet. The best Mother's Day ideas are on New Better Homes, Friday on 7.
We'll take the old grout out and put the new grout in. We'll fix your leaking shower, make it brand new and sparkling. Grout on.
As credit to you, here's up to $120 credit from us. Add any selected month-to-month mobile plan with Vodafone and get the credit you deserve over 12 months. Find out more at vodafone.com.au. Ready?
When a cold disturbs your family's sleep, Vicks Vapor Rub relieves cough, nasal congestion, muscle aches and pains. They sleep, you sleep. Vicks Vapor Rub relieves 4 cough and cold symptoms.
If you've been injured at work, it's important to know where you stand. Talk to Australia's #1 injuries law firm. Morris Blackburn Lawyers will maximise your compensation so you can get on with your life again. Call us now. It costs nothing to know where you stand.
Get vegged. Super tasty vegetarian meal solutions for everyone to enjoy. Packed full of flavour, loaded with veggies and free from artificial colours, flavours and preservatives. Get healthy, get vegged.
Ladies, what's the first thing you take off when you get home? Your bra. Underwire digs, ouch, and back fat from bra straps is embarrassing. Introducing Ceramere, a bra so supporting and flattering, yet so comfortable, you won't even know you're wearing a bra. Look and feel Ceramere good from the front, the back, the sides, even the straps. The secret is Ceramere's double conforming lifting straps. The lace strap is a lifting wrap, just criss and cross, to be cradled in comfort and youthfully lifted. Ceramere comes with adjustable support straps, so you get double the support, double the comfort, and double the smoothness, all without underwire. Ceramere gives you 360 degrees of soft, breathable fabric, designed with front and back cooling mesh ventilation, so hot air flows out and fresh air flows in.
I'm literally obsessed with this bra. It is super functional and super comfortable.
Feels like I'm wearing nothing.
I mean, look at it. Love it.
That's a bra that your body is supposed to fit. This is a bra that fits perfectly to your body. Ceramere fits all shapes and supports all sizes. A bra so supporting and flattering, yet so comfortable, you won't even know you're wearing a bra. So no more cutting straps, no more poking underwire, and no more unsightly back fat. Call Global Shop Direct or go online to order Ceramere in your choice of black, white or nude for the low price on your screen. Want even more value? Upgrade your order and save with our Value 3-pack. You'll get one black, one white and one nude bra and save an amazing $70. If Ceramere isn't the most comfortable, soft bra you've ever worn, just send it back within 30 days for a full refund of the product price. Finally, a bra that fits perfectly to your body. Order Ceramere today.
You're watching 7's 4 p.m. news live from Perth. This is a live shot from our city camera. Right now it's 14 degrees and the winds have finally eased after last night's storm. Stay with us, the forecast is coming up soon. Live and Let Die, that was the questionable choice of soundtrack blaring as President Donald Trump visited a factory producing protective equipment. As Paul Kadak reports, the President is pushing forward with plans to reopen the country, even as the coronavirus death toll mounts.
Good afternoon. President Donald Trump has taken his first trip outside the Washington DC area in more than a month, boarding Air Force One to travel to Phoenix, Arizona, to do, among other things, tour a plant making N95 masks for first responders. Now, despite being in a factory where workers wearing masks were making masks, the President wasn't wearing one, though White House officials insisted he wasn't required to. Donald Trump using the trip to what is also an election battleground state to push his message about opening the country's economy, even as health experts warn the number of COVID cases is not dropping as much as expected.
Well, now it's time to open it up. And you know what? The people of our country are warriors, and I'm looking at it. I'm not saying anything is perfect, and yes, will some people be affected? Yes. Will some people be affected badly? Yes. But we have to get our country open, and we have to get it open soon.
As we reopen the country against this backdrop where there are tens of thousands of cases a day, in most likely scenario is that cases go up, not down.
Back in Washington, a government scientist has filed a whistleblower complaint today, alleging he was ousted after the Trump administration ignored his early warnings about the virus and a malaria drug President Trump touted as a treatment, despite little evidence it helped. And confirmation today, the White House is talking about winding down its coronavirus task force in the coming weeks, as the death toll here in the United States passes 70,000. From New York, it's back to you.
In terrifying scenes, a skyscraper in the United Arab Emirates has gone up in flames. It's not known what caused the fire, which sent flaming debris flying from the tower. Dozens of emergency crews and firefighting drones helped bring the blaze under control. A handful of residents were treated for minor injuries, but miraculously, no one was killed. This is the moment the Venezuelan government claims it caught 8 men, including US citizens, plotting an invasion from the seas. The Venezuelan president said 2 of those men were members of Donald Trump's security team. But the US president was quick to distance himself from any involvement. It's the second alleged attempted coup in as many days. This dramatic vision marks a big leap forward in China's space program. The country's newest carrier rocket blasting off on its maiden flight, a trial run of a new generation spaceship and cargo capsule. China says a successful flight was the third step of the nation's manned space program. The Queen has congratulated Australians on our response to COVID-19 as well as bushfires and the drought. As Sarah Greenalch reports from London, Her Majesty has been on the phone to Prime Minister Scott Morrison.
Well, the Queen has sent everyone her best wishes. She called Scott Morrison to check in on the welfare of Australians to see how people have been coping and how the country has been combating COVID-19. But in a Facebook post, the Prime Minister said Her Majesty was also very interested in the bushfire recovery, in the ongoing drought, and she was pretty happy apparently to hear that the horses have still been racing in Australia. But most importantly, above all else, the Queen was pleased to hear that Australia has so far been so successful in preventing the most tragic impacts of the virus, unlike here in the UK, where the official death toll is now at almost 29,500, surpassing Italy's, making it the highest death toll in Europe and the second highest in the world behind the US. Meanwhile, cybersecurity agencies from both countries, the US and the UK, have issued a joint warning saying that they have evidence spies and hackers have been targeting health bodies, drug companies and university teams who are working towards a COVID-19 vaccine. The work that is being done in laboratories around the world has now become incredibly valuable to all nations. It's believed the culprits include Russia, China and Iran. Staff have now been warned to protect their passwords, with this criminal behaviour set to continue and possibly evolve over the coming months.
A new photo of Harry and Meghan's son Archie is set to be released as the toddler celebrates his first birthday. Archie will spend the day with his parents, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, who are in lockdown in Los Angeles. He's expecting a Zoom call from his great-grandmother, the Queen, and his 3 Cambridge cousins. Billionaire Elon Musk has announced the birth of his baby boy in his typical fashion over Twitter. The Tesla CEO revealed his happy news in a series of posts sharing photos and reporting his partner, singer Grimes, was doing well. In one shot, Musk added a filter that gave the newborn face tattoos. When asked about the boy's name, he replied with a bizarre code, XRA12 Musk, leaving fans in a frenzy trying to work out its meaning. Still to come on 7 News, what sparked a suburban explosion in Perth's north? And empty emergency rooms during a health crisis, why sick people aren't seeking help.
The innovations making working, schooling and living at home easier, smarter and healthier for you on Sunrise Tomorrow.
Quite often I wake up without wanting to wake up.
I just thought there was no hope whatsoever. And that's the worst thing that can happen to you, that feeling of no hope. So now I'm mostly in a good spot. Sometimes my mornings are a bit difficult.
Even though it might be in small ways, helping others is part of what keeps me going.
Domino's $5 pizzas are incredible value. They're made with fresh dough and vine-ripened tomato sauce, topped with stretchy and tastier mozzarella, and served with total peace of mind, thanks to zero contact pickup from Domino's.
Did you know Retrovision offers RAC members access to exclusive deals, including an extra 5% off every day? That's on top of our lowest price guarantee and 60-day price promise. For more RAC member benefits, visit retrovision.com.au.
Come home to stylish winter living. Shop Beacon's stunning new designs and get 30% off your second item. Mix and match anything from our entire range and get 30% off your second. Sale on now.
For making sense of a changing world. For understanding what's next. For the edge you need. The Australian, for the informed Australian.
The Blinds Gallery's 50% off sale is on now. Style your home for less with up to 50% off indoor and outdoor blinds, curtains and awnings. Plus, huge savings on shutters.
Call 137 127 The Blinds Gallery.
With Belong, you get 10 gigs of mobile data for $25 a month. That's 10 gigs of family time, 10 gigs of scrolling through memory lane, 10 gigs of holiday escapes, or 10 gigs of catching up with the family. Plus, unlimited international calls and texts to selected countries for $5 extra. We all spend family time differently. Together, we're different. Belong.
Call Stratco now about our non-contact design and quoting solutions. Get 72 months interest-free on patio, sheds and outdoor blinds and pay absolutely nothing for the first 12 months. T's and C's apply. So, you bring the dream, Stratco will bring the how-to.
Acorn stair lifts are the most cost-effective way to retain your independence. And Acorn's fast-track installation means minimal disruption and no need for custom rails. Call for a free on-site consultation or visit acornstairlifts.com.au.
Meet the revolutionary Sleeping Duck mattress reimagined by aerospace engineers. The first mattress ever to win Choice's Best Overall Mattress 2 years in a row. It comes manufacturer direct, free of markup. Sleeping Duck, incredible quality with incredible value.
4 people have been taken to hospital after the explosion of an electronic bike battery at a home in Kingsley. One woman is being treated for multiple burns. Rory Campbell has more.
Good afternoon. Emergency services were called to an explosion at this home on Dulles Way in Kingsley just before 1 o'clock this afternoon. It's ended with 4 people in hospital. Firefighters have confirmed the cause was accidental. It was the battery of a makeshift electronic bike. The explosion led to a fire that's caused serious damage, reaching into the roof of the home. One woman in her 40s was rushed to Fiona Stanley Hospital with multiple burns. Another woman in her 30s has also been sent to hospital with burns, while a woman in her 80s and a man in his 30s have been treated for smoke inhalation. Neighbours and several people passing by stopped to help.
A couple of people were burnt and dashed out, and we just went in with the hose till the fire brigade got here.
In the news at 6, hear how a passing postman was one of those who stopped to help and what he had with him that helped those who were injured.
Despite a global pandemic, our hospital emergency departments and GP waiting rooms have rarely been emptier as patients heed advice to stay at home. But doctors say that's not a good thing and people shouldn't skip checkups or ignore symptoms just because they're worried about coronavirus.
Health officials and GPs are urging people not to ignore non-COVID related medical conditions because of fears over infections. Numbers are down at hospital emergency units with people thought to be staying away during the COVID crisis. They're not going to GPs clinics either, with patient numbers down as much as 50% in some cases. Pathology services are reporting a 40% drop in routine testing. Government health officials today urge patients who genuinely need medical help to seek it out, saying they should be confident about anti-infection measures at hospitals.
Healthcare environments are safe, and it is important that your chronic health conditions are well managed.
GPs are offering telemedicine services, but say ignoring chronic conditions in particular could have serious implications down the track.
They need to be sorted out now, not waiting until the COVID-19 pandemic resolves itself.
The College of GPs recently launched an advertising campaign urging people to trust the safety of medical services.
Your GP. Expert advice when it matters most. Telephone, online and safe in-person consultations available now.
It is, of course, normally the case that hospitals are concerned about non-urgent cases placing pressure on emergency departments.
A fiery protest has broken out in Honduras, with locals protesting the transportation of coronavirus victims to be buried at the local cemetery. Residents set tyres on fire to block major roads, fearing the arrival of bodies would lead to an infection outbreak. Riot police used tear gas to break up the protests. A sinkhole at the Pantheon in Rome has revealed ancient secrets beneath original paving 2 metres under the current cobblestones from the Roman temple's construction by a friend of Emperor Augustus in 25 BC. One official saying the discovery is further evidence of Rome's archaeological riches. Police were suspicious when they noticed his car swerving and travelling at only 50 k's an hour on a busy Utah highway, and with good reason. Behind the wheel, a 5-year-old boy who told troopers he was on his way to California to buy a Lamborghini. The boy had apparently snuck away from a sibling while their parents were at work. Country areas were hit hard by the southwest storm front overnight. Noel Brunning joins me from the GWN7 News Desk with the details.
In Bunbury, clean-up crews have spent much of the day dealing with fallen trees, roofs, torn off buildings and damaged fencing everywhere. The State Emergency Service had nearly 200 calls for help from people in regional areas, most of them in the southwest. And while emergency services were dealing with storm damage, Bunbury firefighters were called to deal with this house fire, which caused around $200,000 damage. And one of Australia's last Thai-Burma railway survivors, Harold Martin, has died. He passed away in Albany yesterday, aged 103. He endured 2 years of slave labour building the railway during World War II and made several trips back to Thailand for Anzac Day in recent years.
After the break, what's set to replace the infamous faces at Coburn train station? Plus 25 million pints down the drain, drastic measures to protect our beer. And Australia's designer to the stars now producing scrubs for our health heroes. That's next.
We know that getting reliable, accurate information has never been more important. Now, for just $1 a day for 8 weeks, you can have the newspaper delivered every day and get full digital access to our website. Stay informed, stay connected. The West Australian.
Very occasionally, someone comes onto the stage, you think they are born to be a superstar.
Took a job in the city.
Her voice will have the entire audience on their feet.
Absolutely brilliant.
The truly unforgettable performance.
Incredible.
We're celebrating the extraordinary.
This is what the world has been waiting for.
Brand new, Britain's Got Talent, tonight 7:30 on 7.
Definitely.
Wow. Yes. I'll have a slice of that.
Get in my mouth, please.
It's LTV for me.
It's LTV for me.
More and more people are saying it's LTV for me because the LTV T60 4x4 diesel is from just $27,490 drive away. And eligible businesses may be able to claim the government instant asset write-off. Hurry, offer ends May 31.
Shop ABC's Autumn Drop Sale for 50% off rollers, verticals, 40% off outdoor blinds, 30% off aluminium Venetians and sheer curtains from $3.99. Plus get shutters fitted for free.
1315 ABC.
OMG, what a night. I probably look like...
Shut up. My skin looks amazing.
New Olay Retinol 24 Night Serum. Look how plump and bouncy. Girl, it really works.
Definitely.
Wow. Yes. I'll have a slice of that.
Get in my mouth, please.
ready for any challenge. Battery power, made by Stihl. Only from your local Stihl dealer.
An elderly man has been left stunned after a Telstra store wanted him to pay for help downloading the COVID Safe app. The man says they wanted $30.
Good afternoon. 79-year-old Gary Allen needed help downloading the COVID Safe app onto his Samsung phone and thought Telstra would do it for free. He went into his local Warragul store, but when he asked for help installing the app, the tech giant asked him to pay $30.
The way things are, these kids today, 2 minutes, so it'll be $5 or $6. So I said, yeah, all right, go on. Then I just said, how much? What is your charge? He said, $30. $30? Forget it.
Telstra has since admitted it shouldn't have asked for payment to help install the app. They say Australians, particularly the elderly, may need help. They've since told all managers across the country to provide help with the COVID Safe app for free.
They want the maximum number of people to get involved. They're not getting the old people if we can't do it.
A Telstra manager has since come out here to Mr Allen's home to help him install the app free of charge.
COVID-19 is forcing our brewers to tip around 25 million pints of beer down the drain. They're recalling thousands of kegs from across the country due to concerns they'll pass their use-by dates.
It's a scary amount, and when you see it stacked up on the pallet, it's a lot of beer. We're fortunate enough to be a small venue, but there's a lot of big venues out there that are tossing a lot of beer down the drain.
But it's not all bad news. With plenty of time to clean their taps, venues say they'll serve the best beers in the world when pubs reopen. Thousands of people have had their say on what should replace the infamous Coburn train station faces. The composite image of local residents was torn down in October, with the community given the opportunity to vote on what should take its place. 43% voted for a new piece of art. An analogue clock was the second choice, with 37% of votes. Restoring the iconic faces, not popular with voters. Artists can submit their ideas. The nation's fashion brands have joined the fight against the coronavirus pandemic, swapping sequins for scrubs. Karen G, the Australian designer who became a household name when Meghan Markle wore her design during a 2018 visit down under, is now focusing on our frontline health workers, making hospital wear with a royal touch.
Runways abandoned, fashion shows cancelled. The only thing people are getting dressed up for these days is to put the bin out. Normally, Karen G's Sydney workshop would be buzzing with people preparing designer frocks.
This is a time where people really aren't thinking about that. They're thinking about getting themselves through each day and dealing with basically unknown territory.
But instead of shutting up shop, she's swapped sequins for scrubs, joining the chorus of Australian fashion brands turning their attention to the front line.
They're putting their lives at risk, their families' lives at risk as well, and to me they're absolute heroes.
Who deserve a little luxury.
Our business is primarily high-end luxury customised garments, and we've been able to now pivot to high-end luxury scrubs. We put your initials on the back of them, so they are actually our custom scrubs.
People can order them online. The brand is also working with a number of hospitals.
These sort of situations, as dire as they are at times, you've just got to think outside the box and how you can still keep your brand going, but not necessarily doing what you're known for.
Bianca Stone, 7 News.
Newly hatched penguins at Chester Zoo have been named in a tribute to the UK's National Health Service as it battles the coronavirus pandemic. The chicks' names include Florence, after Florence Nightingale, Thomas, after St Thomas Hospital, and Bevan, after the NHS founder Aniran Bevan. The Humboldt penguins are the most at-risk species in the world. Don't go anywhere, your sports news is coming up next.
Who is that?
I don't know.
It's Tane, Ari's brother. I don't think they like each other too much.
He's about to arrive. Some will love it, some won't.
I told you to stay away.
I ain't going anywhere.
It's all that heavy.
I didn't come here to make trouble. I came here to make sure my family was okay.
Tane acts like he's a good guy, but he's not.
Maybe I'll see you around, yeah?
Maybe. He's got the whole bay talking. Home and away. Weeknights on 7.
And welcome back to the Sportsbet Elite Average Games. Last chance for the Aussies, bombing for gold.
They need to pull something big out of their budgies here, JB.
Oh, silly 7! Into a horsey! Massive!
I've never seen one in the wild, but that is splash tag ridiculous.
Scores are in, and they've done it!
Showers of gold.
A make-it-look-easy moment from Sportsbet.
Synergy and the WA government are working to help those doing it tough right now, from households to WA small businesses and charities. To see how, search Synergy Help for You.
Telstra's smart modem is backed up by Australia's best 4G network, so if the connection to your house stops, your home Wi-Fi won't. Experience better Wi-Fi with Telstra.
Tell me what you think. If I didn't share with my mum, it would not be my perfect bowl. Oh.
At Telethon Kids Institute, we have some of the world's best researchers looking at life-saving answers to COVID-19 right now. But WA, we need your support too.
Hanging out for Spudshed's weekly specials? Then head to spudshed.com.au for all our crazy cheap specials and start saving a spud loan. At Spudshed, we grow it, we sell it, you save.
With a world of knowledge.
The black drongo is a bird species native to which continent? Stop the clock. You flaming drongo.
New The Chase, weekdays on 7.
You're watching 7's Afternoon News. Basil joins us now. Baz, what is happening in sport today?
Well, there's a lot, actually, Sam. I'm glad you asked. Thank you. It's a good thing I'm here to tell you all about it. Dockers star Alex Pearce has suffered another injury setback. His lower leg issue has flared up during isolation. And 10 of Pearce's teammates arrived home in WA. They'll now do 2 weeks of isolation.
How do you feel about going into isolation for 2 weeks?
It's what you got to do. Everyone's in the same boat, so it's a bit frustrating, but that's life.
And the AFL wants WA to exempt footy players from our 14-day quarantine, but Mark McGowan says that won't happen.
From the east into Western Australia by providing an exemption of that nature to football. So we're not going to do that.
It means, other than a derby, WA would be unlikely to host any footy here at the start of the season. Rafael Nadal says he expects the remainder of the tennis season to be cancelled due to COVID-19. Nadal told a Spanish newspaper he'd prefer to focus his energies on preparing for the Australian Open in January. German legend Boris Becker says cancelling the season would benefit the game's superstar veterans.
I don't think it's bad for Federer or it's bad for Serena because they haven't really abused their bodies for another year. So in a way, they've gained the year.
Makes sense. The men's and women's tours have been suspended since mid-March. Working from home has become the norm for many during this pandemic, and adventure sport athletes are taking it to a stunning new level. Austrian mountain biker Fabio Wibmar has set up a different kind of home office, showing off a remarkable array of tricks which keep his housemates entertained and sometimes a little scared. Interesting housemates. Wibmar can even hit a dart onto a dartboard and sink a basketball using only the wheel of his bike. He'd be good fun to live with, wouldn't he? Melbourne midfielder Angus Brayshaw says new captain Max Gawn has been the ultimate leader through the pandemic. The Demon star says he and his teammates haven't treated the AFL shutdown as a break and believe they'll be fitter and stronger when it counts.
When the highlight of a 24-year-old AFL star's day is tending to his onions, there's no denying we desperately need footy back soon.
One day I'll chop them up and eat them myself, and that'll be a good day.
With the current situation anything but normal, new captain Max Gawn has been checking in on every player.
His leadership, his styles really come to the fore in this sort of environment. It's such a hard time, he can really stand up and I guess it's the toughest time to lead, and he's doing a really good job.
Brayshaw will have to find a new training partner, with his little brother Andrew and 9 other Dockers players touching down in Perth a short time ago. They'll now have to quarantine for 2 weeks.
Whatever it takes to get us back playing footy, I'm happy to do.
Just 4 days out from Mother's Day, Angus has got his mum the perfect gift.
Yeah, be wearing the helmet, Deborah, if you're watching this. 2021 or whenever we come back, I'll be wearing it.
He's still undecided if the helmet's a permanent addition, but he's never had a concussion since putting it on.
It's a pretty strong case just to not stop wearing it. I mean, it's a good luck charm more than anything else.
With the Brayshaw boys leaving home, his mum and dad have replaced them with Demons first-year players Luke Jackson, Trent Rivers and Keziah Pickett. Cozzy now sleeps in Angus's old bed.
I think it was draft order, so Luke chose first. Luke's not the sharpest tool in the shed, though, so he went to Hamish's room, which is a mistake. There's all sorts of room politics, and I think Cozzy won the lottery there.
Sean Sowerby, 7 News.
Well, they're all doing their bit, right? It's nice. Sam, see you at 6.
See you then. Thanks, Baz. It looks like the wet weather is sticking around for the next couple of days. Stay with us. I'll have your forecast after the break.
This is where WA starts the day.
From this morning, COVID-19 restrictions are being relaxed.
If it's breaking in Perth,
Live now to the crime scene.
you'll see it on Sunrise.
Royal Perth Hospital.
Sunrise is Perth News.
Very good news to start our Wednesday.
Sunrise, the best way to start your day in WA.
Girl meets boy.
I'm so excited. It's like our first big commitment.
Girl buys house.
Bit of a snap decision. Reese had never seen it.
Boy, was he in for a surprise. Sunday, they come home.
That is bloody beautiful.
This is like the ultimate.
Wow, I've never ever seen that before.
I love it. It's perfect.
Will these lovebirds
Here we have a pretend engagement ring.
get their fairy tale ending? A very special reveal. Sunday at 7 on 7.
You know you'll make a great mom one day.
Wise men say.
You know, I had the weirdest cravings when I was pregnant with you. Pickles and ice cream.
Oh, if I falling in love with you.
Meet the revolutionary Sleeping Duck mattress taking Australia by storm. It's the next generation mattress reimagined by aerospace engineers, making history. Choices, best overall mattress 2 years in a row. That's Sleeping Duck. One giant leap for your sleep.
As credit to you, here's up to $120 credit from us. Add any selected month-to-month mobile plan with Vodafone and get the credit you deserve over 12 months. Find out more at vodafone.com.au. Ready?
Rams donated this 30-second ad to Lifeline. Because every 30 seconds, someone in crisis calls Lifeline. Which means now, more than ever, they need people at the other end of the line. So please, give what you can at lifeline.org.au. Because for people in crisis, every second counts.
Germs, grimy little beasts, getting in our fingernails, throats and things. We cough and sneeze, which spreads them all about, making us sick inside and out.
Use a tissue or hand when you sneeze and cough, then go to a tap to wash it all off. The rules are the same for the bathroom, garden and toys. Doesn't matter if you're a girl or a boy. Germs are very mean. Kill them off with vaccines and keep yourself clean.
To win the chase requires a world of knowledge.
Reykjavik, Antarctica, Cape Town, Mexico City.
But with such high stakes, all it takes is one mistake.
The black drongo is a bird species native to which continent? Stop the clock. You flaming drongo?
New the chase, coming up next on 7.
This weather report brought to you by Bridgestone Select for tyres and car servicing. Good afternoon, it's Savannah here with a check of your roads. And unfortunately, traffic signals are blacked out in Palmyra along Carrington Street and Canning Highway, so do slow down and give way to your right. Freeways otherwise are looking good. Just drive safely in this wet weather, switch your headlights on and ensure a safe braking distance. Want award-winning home insurance? Join RAC Insurance, CanStar's 2019 winner for the most satisfied customers in WA. Get a quote at rac.com.au. More traffic tomorrow.
Now, Fuel Watch, Perth's petrol prices. Brought to you by Fuel Watch and 7 News.
Checking the weather now, conditions are easing after last night's storm. We've had 11 millimetres of rain in Perth and a very cool top of 17 this afternoon. Looking at the national forecast, a windy day in Melbourne tomorrow, early fog for Canberra and wet and windy in Adelaide. And for Perth, tomorrow will be cloudy with a high chance of showers, most likely in the afternoon and the evening, a top of 19 and we'll get down to 10 tonight. A high chance of morning showers on Friday, 19 again. Then it clears up for the weekend, mostly sunny and 20 on Saturday. And for Mother's Day, sunny and 22 degrees with light winds. That's news for now. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you with Sue, Rick and Baz for 7 News at 6. Stay with us for The Chase Australia.
Hello, Matt. I have been watching you.
I've lived in Broken Hill my whole life.
What bloody flies?
Born and bred and grown up in the country. I'm a sparky in one of the local mines. Got my beautiful fiancée, Jess. Definitely the best thing that's ever happened to me. It's a bit of a running joke that I'm Don Bradman and about above my average with Jess.
You got to sort of make your own fun a bit out here in little old Brokers. A lot of families still in town, big friendship network. It's pretty laid back. Really got that community spirit.
I am Big Brother, and I've chosen you.
I gotta be me.
Welcome to my brand new house.
I hope I'm a pretty likeable guy.
Matt, it's not about being likeable. It's about doing whatever I say.
Got to keep my wits about myself. Some people conniving, backstabbing. Others will genuinely be on your side.
When the dust settles, will you be the last one standing?
It's a game. Got to remember that. If someone's coming after my back, it's kill or be killed in my book.
That's the spirit.
I bring humour, wit, some smarts and some ADHD energy. Beautiful big head and a little touch of budgie smuggler action.
Let's hope you're ready for what I've got planned.
Big Brother, what are you playing at?
I am Big Brother. Who wins? You decide.
These four strangers must work as a team.